October 22nd, 1959, Harlem, New York. 11:42 p.m. Rain hammered the roof of the old Packard like it was trying to break in. Streetlights on 145th Street flickered weak, turning puddles into black mirrors. A lone figure stood under the awning of a shuttered pawn shop, collar up, cigarette glowing red in the dark. His name was Victor Gold Malone. Not because he liked jewelry, because he only took payment in gold bars, coins, or nuggets, never paper money that could be traced. He was 6'2", lean like a blade, eyes the color of old pennies. He'd killed 12 men in 3 cities, never missed, never left witnesses. The mob called him when they needed something permanent and quiet. Tonight, the contract came from Vito Genovese himself. A small black velvet pouch dropped into Victor's hand 2 nights earlier in a Brooklyn backroom. Inside, 4 one-ounce gold Krugerrands, pure South African, stamped and heavy, worth about $140 each back then. More than enough for 1 clean shot. The target, Ellsworth Bumpy Johnson. The reason, Bumpy had just muscled Vito's crew out of a high-stakes numbers joint on Lenox Avenue. Took the runners, the books, the protection money, all of it. Vito wanted Harlem to remember who really ran New York. Victor didn't ask questions. He never did. He just studied the target for 3 days. Bumpy's routines, his favorite spots, the way he walked, slow, deliberate, like the street belonged to him. Victor learned Bumpy always ended Thursdays at Small's Paradise after midnight, alone in the back booth, listening to jazz, sipping Hennessy. No bodyguard on Thursdays, his thinking night. Victor waited across the street from Small's. Rain soaked his coat, but he didn't move. At 11:50, the door opened. Bumpy stepped out, charcoal suit, fedora low, cigarette between his lips. He paused under the marquee, looked left, looked right. Then started walking south on 7th Avenue, hands in pockets, unhurried. Victor fell in behind him half a block back. Silent steps. The rain covered the sound. Bumpy turned down a narrow side street, 128th, between 7th and 8th. Fewer lights, fewer eyes. Perfect. Victor closed the gap. 20 feet. 10, 5. Victor hesitated. 1 second too long. Bumpy spoke without turning around. Voice calm, carrying over the rain like it was nothing. You got 4 Krugerrands in your pocket, Victor. Vito paid you in gold, I know. I know everything. Victor's finger froze on the trigger. How? He'd never spoken to anyone about the job, never showed the gold. Bumpy turned slow, rain dripping from his fedora brim. He looked Victor dead in the eyes, calm, almost curious. Put the gun down, son, Bumpy said. We gon' talk. Victor didn't move. His heart hammered, but his hand stayed steady. I don't talk, he said low. I finish. Bumpy smiled, small, dangerous. You already finished. You just don't know it yet. From the shadows of the alley behind Victor, 2 figures stepped out. Illinois Gordon, big, silent, sawed off under his coat, and Red, the driver, holding a .45 steady. They'd been there the whole time, waiting. Victor felt the trap close. He could shoot Bumpy now, maybe get one off before they dropped him. But something in Bumpy's eyes stopped him. Not fear, recognition. Bumpy took 1 step closer, rain running down his face. I know who you are, Gold. Best in the game. Never miss. Never caught. Vito thinks he bought you, but gold don't buy loyalty. It just rents it. Victor's grip tightened. Then why ain't you dead? Bumpy reached into his coat, slow, no sudden moves. Pulled out a small leather pouch, tossed it at Victor's feet. It landed with a heavy clink. Open it. Victor didn't move. Bumpy waited. Finally, Victor bent down, gun still raised, and picked it up. Inside, 6 more Krugerrands, more than double what Vito paid. Victor looked up. Bumpy said quiet. That's your advance. From me. Not to kill me. To work for me. Victor laughed. Short, bitter. You think I switched sides for more gold? Bumpy shook his head. I ain't buying your gun. I'm buying your life. You pull that trigger tonight, you die here. Illinois and Red make sure of it. Your body disappears. No one ever knows what happened to the great Victor Malone. He paused. Let the rain fill the silence. Or, you put the gun away. Come work for Harlem. Protect what's mine. And I'll make sure you never want for nothing again. Not gold, not safety, not respect. Victor stared at the pouch in his hand. 6 gold coins. A new life, or a grave in the Hudson. Bumpy took another step, close enough to whisper, I don't need another killer. I need a man who knows what it costs to pull a trigger and chooses not to. Victor looked at the gun in his hand, then at Bumpy. Slowly, he lowered it. The rain kept falling. And just like that, the hitman who came for Bumpy's life walked away with a new boss. But the real test, that was coming. That, November 5th, 1959, 2 weeks after the Tommy job, Harlem, New York. Victor Malone had moved into a small walk-up on 139th Street, paid in cash, no questions asked. Bumpy's people handled the lease. Quiet building, good locks, window overlooking the street so he could see trouble coming. He hadn't touched the 6 Krugerrands yet, kept them in the pouch, hidden under a loose floorboard. Every night he stared at it, weighing the weight in his palm like it might tell him something. Bumpy didn't call often. When he did, it was short, direct, no small talk. This time the call came at 2:17 a.m. Victor, meet me at the old warehouse on 125th in Amsterdam. Back door, 30 minutes. No explanation, no goodbye. Victor dressed fast, dark coat, gloves, the .22 in its shoulder holster. He walked the blocks in the cold November air. Harlem slept uneasy, jazz leaking from a few late spots, sirens distant. The warehouse was an old meat-packing plant, boarded windows, rusted chain-link fence. Victor slipped through a gap in the fence, found the back door unlocked. Inside, dim single bulb hanging from a cord. Bumpy stood in the center, coat open, hands in pockets. Illinois Gordon leaned against a pillar 20 feet away, shotgun visible now. Bumpy didn't greet him, just nodded toward a wooden chair in the middle of the room. Sit. Victor hesitated, then walked over, sat. Bumpy paced slow circles around the chair. You did good with Tommy, Bumpy said. Clean, no blood, money back in my pocket. Vito still don't know his cousin flipped on him. Victor stayed silent. Bumpy stopped behind him, voice low. But Tommy talked, not to Vito, to someone worse. Victor tensed. His wife overheard. She's scared. She told her brother. Her brother, Frankie DeLuca, runs with a crew out of the Bronx. Young, hungry, no loyalty. They think they can use Tommy's debt as leverage, blackmail me, or kill me and take the numbers game. Bumpy came around front, looked down at Victor. They got a plan. Tomorrow night, they're hitting one of my biggest drops, $80,000 in cash coming in from the weekend bets. Corner of 116th and Lenox, back alley behind the barber shop. 2 runners, light guard. They plan to take the money and leave bodies. Victor met Bumpy's eyes. You want me to stop them? Bumpy shook his head once. I want you to join them. Victor blinked. Bumpy continued. You go to Frankie DeLuca. Tell him you're the hitman who let Tommy live. Tell him you got inside info on the drop. Tell him you'll help for a cut. Get in close. Find out their numbers, their guns, their exit. Victor's mind raced. And then, Bumpy crouched down, eye level. Then you flip it. You bring me the plan. You set them up. When they come for my money, my men will be waiting to end it. Victor swallowed. That's a suicide play. If Frankie smells anything wrong. He won't, Bumpy said, because you're gonna sell it perfect. You're the legend. They'll believe you want in, because who wouldn't want a piece of $80,000? Illinois stepped closer. If you double-cross us, we'll know, and I'll personally bury you with those 6 coins in your mouth. Victor looked at Bumpy. Why trust me with this? Bumpy stood up. Because you already chose once, now choose again. He tossed a small envelope at Victor's feet. Inside, address where Frankie drinks, time he's there tonight, a photo of him, and 1 more Krugerrand. Victor picked it up. Bumpy turned to leave. Get me the plan by dawn. Bring it to Small's back booth. Illinois followed Bumpy out. Door closed. Victor sat alone under the bulb, envelope in hand. He opened it, looked at Frankie's photo, then he looked at the gold coin. He closed the envelope, stood up, and walked back into the night. This wasn't just a job anymore. This was the deeper cut. He had until dawn to decide how deep he'd bleed for Bumpy Johnson. November 6th, 1959, 4:12 a.m., a smoky backroom bar in the Bronx called the Lucky Ace. Dim red lights, cigarette smoke thick enough to cut. Victor Malone pushed through the beaded curtain. Frankie DeLuca sat at a scarred wooden table with three of his crew, young, twitchy guns on the table like drinks. Frankie looked up. He smirked. "You the gold guy, the one who let Tommy breathe?" Victor didn't smile. He walked straight to the table, pulled out a chair, sat without asking. "I'm the one who knows where Bumpy's $80,000 drop is tonight. 116th and Lenox. Back alley behind the barber shop. 2 runners, 1 guard. Cash in a brown leather satchel. They move at 2 a.m. Frankie leaned forward. "How you know that?" Victor pulled the extra Krugerrand from his pocket, rolled it across the table. "Bumpy paid me to watch his back. I watched. Now I'm here. I want in. Half cut. 40 grand. One of Frankie's guys laughed. "You think we trust some hitman who flipped on Johnson?" Victor met Frankie's stare. "I didn't flip. I upgraded. Bumpy's smart. But he's old. Young blood like you can take it, if you got the right inside man." Frankie picked up the coin, bit it, then tossed it back. "Prove it. Tell me something only someone close would know." Victor leaned in. "The guard tonight? Big man named Leon. Left-handed. He smokes Chesterfields. Lights one every 15 minutes. When he does, he turns his back to the alley mouth for 10 seconds. That's your window." Frankie's smirk faded. He looked at his crew. They nodded slow. Frankie exhaled smoke. "All right, Gold, you're in. But if this goes sideways, we put 2 in your head before we run." Victor nodded once. Frankie laid it out. 2 on the rooftops with rifles. Frankie and the skinny kid hit the alley, grabbed the satchel, exit through the sewer grate. Victor listened, memorized every detail. By 5:30 a.m., he had the full plan. "Frankie, meet us at the roof on 115th at 1 a.m. Bring your gun." Victor left the bar, dialed the number Bumpy had given him. Illinois answered. "Victor, got it, full plan. 4 men, 2 snipers, Frankie and 1 other in the alley. Sewer escape, signal, 2 quick whistles. Illinois, Smalls, back booth, now." Victor headed uptown. By 6:15 a.m., he slid into the booth across from Bumpy. Victor laid it out, every detail, every name, every move. Bumpy set the cup down gentle. "Good." He slid a small box across the table. Another 4 Krugerrands. "Your bonus." Victor closed the box, pushed it back. "I don't want more gold. I want in, for real, part of this." Bumpy studied him. "You just set 4 men up to die. For me, for Harlem. That's in enough." "Victor, I want more than that. I want to protect what you built, not just kill for it." Bumpy leaned back, smiled small. "All right, tonight you ride with Illinois. You watch how we handle it. If you do right, you stay." Bumpy stood up. "But remember, Victor, loyalty ain't a one-time payment. It's every day." Bumpy walked to the door. "Get some rest. Tonight's gonna be loud." Victor stayed in the booth, stared at the empty stage. He'd come to Harlem to kill a king. Now he was guarding the throne. And the blood that was coming tonight, it would seal the deal, one way or another. November 6th, 1959, 1:47 a.m., corner of 116th and Lenox Avenue, Harlem. The alley smelled like old hair tonic and wet brick. 2 of Bumpy's runners, Calvin and Dee, waited. $80,000 in cash inside. Weekend numbers take. Leon, the guard, leaned against the wall smoking. He flicked ash, turned his back. That was the signal. From the rooftops, 2 snipers crouched low. In the alley mouth, Frankie and the skinny kid waited in stolen coats. Victor Malone stood beside them. Frankie whispered, "Leon turns now. We move on my count. Grab the bag. Sewer grate at the end. Go." Victor nodded, but his eyes flicked up to the rooftops opposite Frankie's snipers. Shadows moved there too, Bumpy's men, Illinois Gordon among them, waiting. Frankie counted soft. 1, 2. Victor moved first. Not toward the runners, toward Frankie. He raised the .22, pressed it to Frankie's temple. Frankie froze. What the? Victor's voice ice cold. Drop your guns, all of you, now. The skinny kid spun, switchblade out. Victor fired once, silenced pop. The kid dropped, clutching his leg. Victor, tell your snipers to stand down, or the next one's in your head. Frankie hesitated, then whistled twice. The rooftop rifles lowered. Silence fell heavy. From the shadows, Bumpy's crew emerged. Illinois first, shotgun raised. They surrounded Frankie's team, disarmed the snipers. Calvin and Dee picked up the satchel, walked it to Illinois. Bumpy stepped out last, fedora low, coat open, calm as Sunday. He walked slow to Frankie, looked down at the man on his knees. Frankie DeLuca, Bumpy said quiet. You thought you could take what's mine, thought $80,000 would make you king. Frankie spat blood. You set us up, gold here. He sold us. Bumpy glanced at Victor, nodded once. Victor lowered the gun. Bumpy crouched down. I don't kill family men unless I have to. You got a sister, kids, a mother in Brooklyn. So here's the deal. He stood, looked around at the crew. You walk away tonight, all of you. No money, no revenge. You tell Vito that Harlem's closed, permanently. You step foot in my streets again. You even whisper my name wrong. I'll find every person you love, and I'll make sure they pay first. Slow. Frankie's face crumpled. He nodded fast. Bumpy, let him go. Illinois cut the ties. Frankie's crew stumbled up. They limped toward the street, broken, empty-handed. Bumpy watched them disappear into the night, then turned to Victor. You did good tonight. Real good. Victor exhaled. First time he felt the weight lift. Bumpy put a hand on his shoulder, light, but firm. You saved my money. You saved my men. You chose Harlem over easy cash, over your old life. He paused. Then, from now on, you ride with me, not as a hired gun, as family. You protect what we built, and we protect you. Victor looked at Bumpy, the king of Harlem, the man he'd come to kill. Now the man he'd die for. Victor nodded once, voice steady. I'm in. Bumpy smiled, real this time, small, proud. Good, let's go home. The crew melted back into the shadows. The alley went quiet again, just the wind and the distant siren. Victor walked beside Bumpy toward the waiting Cadillac, the pouch of gold still in his pocket. But it felt lighter now, like it didn't own him anymore. He'd come for a hit. He stayed for a purpose. And from that night forward, Victor Gold Malone was no longer a hitman. He was Bumpy Johnson's shadow, his shield, his brother, for the rest of his life. December 1968, 9 years after that rainy night on 128th Street, Harlem, New York. The city had changed again. Bumpy Johnson was gone. Heart attack in '68, same as the legend said. Slipped away quiet in the Wells Supper Club, cigarette still burning between his fingers. Harlem mourned like it lost its heartbeat. Thousands lined the streets for the funeral. Men in sharp suits, women in black veils, kids holding signs. The Godfather forever, Victor Gold. Malone stood at the back of the crowd that day. No tears, just silence. He wore the same dark coat he'd worn the night he lowered his gun on Bumpy. The pouch of Krugerrands, now 12 strong, one added each year on the anniversary, was still in his pocket. He never spent a single one. They weren't money anymore. They were a promise kept. After Bumpy's death, Harlem splintered a little. New crews rose. The Italians tried creeping back in the '70s, but Victor was there, quiet, unseen until needed. He didn't take over. He protected, kept the runners safe, kept the old spots running, kept Bumpy's rules alive. No kids in the game, no shaking down widows, no selling out the block. Illinois Gordon ran things for a while, big man with the sawed-off. But age caught him too. One night in '72, he sat Victor down at Small's Paradise, same back booth. Boss left instructions, Illinois said. Said if anything happened to him, you take the watch, not the throne, the watch. Victor looked at the empty stage. Jazz band long gone home. I ain't him, Victor said. Illinois smiled tired. Don't need to be. Just need to remember what he taught. Loyalty over gold. Mercy with teeth. Harlem first. Victor nodded once. Took the watch. For the next 30 years, Victor became the shadow Harlem whispered about. The gold man. The one who showed up when trouble came. Never loud, never flashy. Just there. A .22 in his coat. Eyes that saw everything. He saved runners from raids. Talked young hotheads down from bad choices. Even paid hospital bills for kids he never met. Quiet, no name attached. Bumpy's way. In the 80s, crack flooded the streets. Victor fought it hard. Shut down dealers who sold to school kids. Sent them packing. Or worse, if they didn't listen, he lost friends. Lost sleep. But he kept Harlem's soul from breaking completely. By the 2000s, he was old. Hair white. Hands steady but slower. He lived in the same walk-up on 139th. Still overlooked the street. Still watched. One winter night in 2005, 46 years after that first job, Victor sat on his stoop. Snow falling soft. A young man, maybe 25, walked up slow, hood up, hands in pockets. "Mr. Malone?" Victor looked up, nodded. The kid pulled his hood back, face serious. "I'm Tommy Russo's grandson. My pops told me the story. How you spared my granddad. How you could have ended him, but didn't. How you made him pay it back and walk away." Victor studied the boy. "What's your name?" "Anthony." Victor exhaled smoke from his cigarette. "What you want, Anthony?" The kid swallowed. "I'm in some trouble. Bad crew. They want me to do a job. I don't wanna. But they got leverage. I heard you help people who want to get out." Victor looked at the falling snow. Long moment. Then he stood slow, reached into his pocket, pulled out the pouch, opened it, took out one Krugerrand, the newest one, still shiny. He pressed it into Anthony's hand. "Take this. Sell it quiet. Use the money to move your family somewhere clean. No streets, no leverage." Anthony stared at the coin, eyes wide. "But this is gold don't buy loyalty," Victor said quiet. "It rents it. Bumpy taught me that. Now I'm teaching you. Get out while you can. Don't wait for the trap to close." Anthony clutched the coin, tears in his eyes. "Thank you, Mr. Malone." Victor nodded. "Tell your granddad." "We square." The kid walked away into the snow. Victor sat back down, lit another cigarette, watched the street. He lived another 10 years, quiet, alone, but never lonely, Harlem remembered. When Victor Malone finally passed in 2015, peaceful in his sleep, the streets whispered again. No big funeral, no crowds, just a few old-timers at the grave in Woodlawn. Beside Bumpy's plot, they buried him simple, no stone inscription except his name, and below it, Victor Malone, the man who chose Harlem. The pouch of gold gone with him, 12 coins, one promise kept, and the legacy, it lived in every runner who stayed straight, every kid who got out, every block that remembered. Loyalty ain't cheap, but it's worth more than gold. Bumpy Johnson built the kingdom. Victor Malone guarded it. And Harlem kept breathing, stronger. Because one night in the rain, a hitman lowered his gun and picked up a life instead.